Good day, everyone. This is Joe Balbiran Aban. I am a regulated Canadian immigration consultant, and I am doing this video because I receive a lot of emails, calls, messages asking some clarification about the new temporary public policy that will allow visitors to apply for work permit without leaving Canada. This was released on August 24th, 2020. That was this Monday in the Government of Canada website. And it was updated yesterday. So to save me time from repeating the information, to explain to my clients and to those with inquiry, and of course to give awareness to those interested applicants, I made this video. But you can always contact me if you have further questions, or if you are still confused even after watching this video. I might not be able to reply back or answer right away, but I will do my best to contact you as soon as I can. And I will also post the link below about the new temporary public policy for you to do further readings and to get more information. So it is temporary because applicants can submit their work permit until March 31st, 2021. That's next year. And I really understand why there are a lot of inquiry or confusions, because it was titled New Temporary Public Policy will allow visitors to apply for a work permit without having to leave Canada. So does visitors really need to leave Canada to apply for a work permit before? No. Ever since in 2002, which the year IRPA, or the Immigration and Refugee Protection Act, was in effect, visitors in Canada are allowed to stay in Canada while their work permit is being submitted and processed outside Canada. They can stay in Canada as long as they have maintained a valid status as a visitor while waiting for the decision of their work permit application, which was processed outside Canada. So before this public policy, if a visitor receive a decision of their work permit, they receive an approval letter, or what we also call the port of entry or POE letter. They need to print that and go to the closest port of entry, so which is the closest border, USA-Canada border, to get and to show that POE letter to the border officer, and that's the time that they will be granted their work permit before they can start working for their employer. So what is the difference with this policy, with this new policy? And then what is the great news about this? Why everyone is going loco about this? This is because, as mentioned before, visitors are not allowed to apply for a work permit from inside Canada processing. So it is not the applicant that will be sent back home or asked to leave Canada. It is the work permit application. Okay, so there's difference with the applicant inside Canada as a visitor with valid status, and the application, the work permit application, which will be submitted and processed outside Canada. So foreign nationals in Canada with a valid work permit, valid worker and student status are the only ones allowed to submit their application in Canada. So there are some exemptions, like visitors who are spouses of skilled workers, or visitors spouses of international students. They can apply for a work permit from inside Canada. Okay, so are you still confused? Or I understand, like, it is really confusing. To make it clear and simplified, hopefully, there are two processing for Canadian work permits, okay? Two processing, inside, outside Canada. And first processing center for inside Canada work permit, there's only one processing center, which is in Edmonton, Alberta, our neighbor, 2.5 hours drive from us, Lloydminster, Alberta, the only border city of Canada. Before, the processing center was located in Vegreville, Alberta, and they moved it sometime in 2018 to Edmonton. In this Inside Canada application, our application form that we will use is the IMM 5710, which is the application to change condition, extend my stay or remain in Canada as a worker. So the first is application to change condition. So if you're a worker, if you're a visitor, change your condition to worker. That's why that's the same form, 5710. Second is the processing center outside Canada. Processing center outside Canada are Canadian visa offices located outside Canada, which is in other countries. For those for those visitors that are inside Canada, their work permit application, this was before, okay? Their work permit applications will be submitted and processed in the Canadian visa offices outside Canada. In this application, we're gonna be using the IMM 1295 application for a work permit outside of Canada. So just by that form name alone, application for a work permit outside Canada. So these are the same forms that the foreign nationals that are still living or staying in their home country or other countries, working, studying, and visiting. This is the forms that they're gonna use. The same with the visitors in Canada, because it will be processed overseas. Okay? And visitors in Canada are treated foreign nationals that are not allowed to apply inside Canada. As I've said a while ago, only those students and workers inside Canada can apply for a work permit inside Canada. Okay? So what visa offices that will process the visitor's work permit application? It is either in the visa office of the home country or the country of citizenship of the applicant, or the Canadian visa office in New York, USA, because this is the visa office responsible for residents or visitors in Canada. Though in the IMM 1295 form, it will ask where do you want to have your application be processed. You can choose what country where it will be processed, though you cannot answer Canada there because you're a visitor. But once it is submitted online, it is the system that will analyze, and the system will forward your application to the visa office responsible for the processing of your application. Okay, so I will give a short example with one of my client who is inside Canada. He entered Canada in November 2019 as a visitor. He is a German citizen, and during his stay in Canada as a visitor, he found an employer who was willing to process the LMIA for him. So what is that LMIA? So this is the Labor Market Impact Assessment. The employer needs to get this approval first from the government of Canada before they can hire a foreign national. So we had processed the LMIA of his employer and was approved in July of this year. So in this case, we no longer need to submit my German citizen client application outside Canada. We can now submit his work permit inside Canada processing, which is in Edmonton, Alberta. And in this new policy, the advantage, since the processing is inside Canada, which as said is in Edmonton, once approved, the work permit will be mailed to my mailing address if I'm the representative. And my client doesn't no longer need to go to the closest border and to leave Canada to get that work permit. So from Edmonton Processing Center, his work permit will be mailed to us and he can start working for his new employer. So for those visitors that are asking, can they now submit a work permit in Canada? Because they are, or they have a valid visitor's status in Canada. Yes, they can. No one is stopping them to submit, but the question is, will they be approved? That is if they meet the eligibility requirements under this policy. So which are, first, have a valid status in Canada as a visitor on the day they applied, though it doesn't really mention, but implied status are eligible. That is, they had submitted visitor record application before the expiry of their allowed stay. Second, have been in Canada before or on August 24, 2020 and remained in Canada. So if, for example, you have a valid temporary resident visa or the visitor visa and you're planning to enter Canada as soon as possible for you to avail of this policy, sorry, you are no longer eligible for this policy, okay? Because you will enter Canada after August 24, 2020. And then the third is have a job offer, of course, from a Canadian employer. And fourth, submitted an application for an employer-specific work permit that is supported by the LMIA, the Labor Market Impact Assessment, or an LMIA exempt offer of employment before March 31st, 2021. And last requirement is must also meet all other standard admissibility criteria, which are the medical exam, security, and background check. Though they might be exempted with medical exam because they're in Canada, but it's up to the officer to request for that medical exam later. So what is this LMIA exempt job offer or LMIA exempt offer of employment? If someone will come to me and, Joe, I cannot find an employer that is willing to process LMIA, or there is a refusal to process in Alberta, it's very hard to find an employer. What are those that are LMIA exempt job offer? How will be my employer be exempted to apply for LMIA? So there are what they call the international mobility program. Some employers no longer need to apply for this LMIA to hire the foreign nationals. Those that need LMIA, the employers need to pay 1,000 Canadian dollars per worker to the government of Canada for their LMIA to be processed. So with this LMIA exempt job offer, the employer doesn't need to pay that 1,000 Canadian dollars to the government of Canada, but they still have to submit the offer of employment online and then pay this 230 Canadian dollars employer compliance fee or ECF. And for those employer specific, that means your form should state the name of your employer, the location, and everything, because it's employer specific. It's not open work permit. And there are LMIA exempt employer specific, which is on examples such as the international agreement between Canada and other countries, like the GATS, the GATS, General Agreement on Trade and Services, like NAFTA with Mexico, USA, and there's also the intra-company transfers. and others. And aside from that, the LMIA exam offer of employment can be is applicable to those nominated by the provincial, territorial, international agreements. So if you are nominated by the employer, no, if you are nominated by the province with an employment offer, like the SINP, Saskatchewan Immigrant Nominee Program, AIPP, and other provinces, that you cannot apply for a bridging open work permit yet after being nominated. So you can apply for this LMA exam offer of employment and be granted this policy too. So it's still confusing. Inside, outside. In the Philippines, there was a popular song, In or Out. In or out? Am I in or out? Yeah, but anyway, I know it's confusing. I've been doing this for years, and I can say I'm not an expert. I'm doing my best to be updated, especially with this COVID came almost every week. There are changes with immigration. There are some good news, bad news. So before paying someone that will tell you that they can give you a work permit because you're a visitor in Canada, you have to think first and ask why they said you're eligible under this policy, or who will be your employer, what will be your position, is there already an LMIA ready, and if LMIA exempt, what program your employer is exempt under this policy, right? Because it is just sad that I heard and read in social media posting from some clients, friends, that someone has paid thousands because of this policy, that they are eligible, which they are not eligible based on the information given to me, and they don't have even employer yet. So read, seek second, third opinion from professionals if you are in doubt. Okay, and then everything is in the immigration website. But I've said, if you want to seek other opinion, reach out to us. And thank you so much, and hope you gained some information about this video. And of course, please like and subscribe. Thank you.